on the constitutional amendment bill that seeks to entrench the NGCDF and GAF and also the Senate Oversight Fund in the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, this country has come of age. And over the years, those who are before us in this house know where exactly this country has come from as far as getting funds to the common mwananchi comes from. In as much as, Honorable Speaker, that we have two units of governance, the devolved unit and the national government, even as we continue seeking that funds go through, are channeled through the county governments or through the devolved units, there are other elements that are left within the national government structure that are very critical to people in all the villages and all constituencies. And with a well-controlled system, the impact will be felt in the villages and in the constituencies in factors or in matters that are left on the national government. That is the security, the education, and other matters, Honorable Speaker. And that is why it's quite unfortunate that people have a misconception that CDF or NGCDF is a fund that is managed by members of parliament. Far from it. Even as it is currently, Honorable Speaker, members of parliament have zero role as far as sharing of NGCDF or, the way NGCDF operates, Honorable Speaker. I mean, that is why it's called National Government Constituency Development Fund. It is a preserve for the national government with an autonomous structure of governance. We have the NGCDF board that does the approvals. We have the constituency fund managers that are employed by the National Government Constituency Development Fund. Then we have the committees, in the constituencies that, of course, now collect views from the common mwananchi. And the role of members of parliament, Honorable Speaker, is very limited. It's actually to oversight, as provided for under Article 95. There is nothing else that we do. What the members of parliament do when they visit constituencies on the NGCDF project is simply to exercise their role and responsibility to oversight and see whether this national government fund is actually doing what it ought to be. It's doing what the committee proposed to the NGCDF board. But people have this misconception, Honorable Speaker, that the members of parliament sit somewhere and they go to their accounts and they draw their funds, they decide on what to do, and they keep some changes. In fact, I keep challenging people any time I engage them that if there is a fund that you really cannot steal, it is actually in this house that I say that we need to replicate the system that NGCDF has or operates under to even the county government. Because this money, Honorable Speaker, leaves the board, goes to the constituencies with a vote, a specific vote, that on this particular percentage, it's going for the bursaries. This particular percentage is for education. This percentage is for this and this. We have no role whatsoever. But people think and imagine that we wake up one morning, a member of parliament wakes up one morning and decides that today I want to draw 1 million shillings from the NGCDF account. How? It is not possible. It is not practical. You cannot do that. What we do is to oversight. And what we are proposing here, Honorable Speaker, it is to have these funds now entrenched in the Constitution so that the people can feel it. Honorable Speaker, when you compare, and I've always said this, when you compare resources, when you compare the resources that are sent from the national government or through the devolved units and then NGCDF, you will realize, Honorable Speaker, that when you pass through the constituencies, every project done by NGCDF is visible. You see it. You see it. You can actually count and say, it has bought this school bus. It has done this. Some students have gone to school. Some people have, we have now police stations. We have, in fact, Honorable Speaker, some even do, like I saw Nairobi, Honorable Speaker, my former colleague, a member of this house, who left this house in the last regime, Honorable Speaker, was actually doing even swimming pools in Nairobi schools. And students have competed and even gone international through the swimming classes that they learned because the structures have been built. So, Honorable Speaker, this is the fund that is felt by the common mwananchi. When you compare every devolved fund, every fund that has left to the national government, you will realize that this fund, Honorable Speaker, is so visible. And that is why some people, some very weird quarters, Honorable Speaker, are viciously fighting that this fund does not get to the common mwananchi, because they know that when it gets to the common mwananchi, they'll have no grasp. You know, they'll have no ground to stand against, because people tend to fight for, they tend to oppress or suppress people so that they can be able to use them for their own ulterior motives, Honorable Speaker. But when this fund goes to the public, Honorable Speaker, it helps a lot, it elevates education, it's felt by the common mwananchi. And Honorable Speaker, I am a living example, personally, of this fund, the NGCDF. When it was first introduced in this House, Honorable Speaker, I was in Form 1. I was in Form 1, Honorable Speaker. And the Honorable Mingo Magara paid my school fees, Honorable Speaker, through this NGCDF. That time the fees was about 3,000. And when I saw my name on the notice board, Honorable Speaker, I was very happy. Because I had dropped out of school. I had no money. I had started, Honorable Speaker, doing menial jobs in the villages. I had nowhere to sleep. I had nowhere to spend. So I really wanted to be in boarding school, Honorable Speaker, because there was no place I could live and, so that because I had nobody to cook for me. I had nobody to live with. And the Honorable Mingo Magara, Honorable Speaker, that time as a member of parliament, then it was not under the NGCDF board. It was quite a bit direct. Paid my school fees, Honorable Speaker, through this fund, NGCDF. Although it has, over the years, it has, been repealed now to what it is today. This is the time that this House needs to stand firm and support this particular bill so that this fund is felt, Honorable Speaker, in the Constitution. Then there is also the NGAF fund, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, women play a critical role in the societies. When you move around the counties, Honorable Speaker, you will actually see, in as much as the resources they get are meager, at about 6 million per county, or 8 per constituency, 42 million per county, or 50 or 60 million, you will see, we've seen water tanks, we've seen bursaries. They try to balance these resources and exploit them properly, and it's felt, it's quite visible compared to what we send in billions to the county government, Mr. Speaker. If there is a fund, again, that we must support, that it should be raised even higher, it is the NGAF fund, even as we entrench it in the Constitution, so that you see it, it's practical. Mr. Speaker, we have water challenges all over in the country. We are not able to tap on natural, water that through the rains. But these ladies, the ladies that patronize this amount, Mr. Speaker, have been able to give tanks across the schools. Kids are not now being sent to, they're not being sent to the rivers, Honorable Speaker, for matters to fetch waters through the rivers and everything, because we are taking advantage of the rainwater, Honorable Speaker. So if there is another section of fund that we really must support, is the NGAF, that our gracious ladies have been patronizing over the years, Honorable Speaker. And finally, Honorable Speaker, when we talk about the oversight, the reason why the oversight, the Senate looks crippled is because they are really not well resourced. You call governors who control billions of money to reprimand them. They look at you as paupers, and because you have nothing. Even going to the counties, Honorable Speaker, to see what the funds, the devolved funds are doing is a challenge to the senators. They struggle to get to the counties. There is no special budget for that to go to the counties so that they can be able to see. The other day I saw senators, Honorable Speaker, in one of the counties when they visited some hospital, Honorable Speaker, and they really displayed quite disturbing images of patients sleeping, sharing beds, 3 patients, women sharing beds, Honorable Speaker, maternity wing. It's a very sad situation. We need to empower the senators. We need to give them the oversight fund so that when they see these things, Honorable Speaker, they can be able to work on it. So with those very, very remarks, Honorable Speaker, I beg to support and urge members to appear in the afternoon in large numbers and vote for this particular bill so that we can be able to see meaningful development in our society. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Dr. James Nyikal, member for Seme.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Madam Speaker, this bill seeks to entrench in the Constitution the National Government Constituency Development Fund. the NGAF and also Senate oversight. Madam Speaker, this CDF has done what has not been done by many, many other funds. But those who have been going to court on and off against this fund and the other decentralized funds, the argument is that this is actually against the devolution. But they should remember that the CDF is part of the national component of the revenue, so that when we are sharing, even if it was to be abolished, it would not go to the counties. It would still be part of the national government fund that will be used in the national government. Madam Speaker, people have talked about separation of powers. The role of MP, as we know, is representation, legislation, and oversight. But if you look at what the MP's role in CDF, even the MP's role of the Senate oversight, it will be purely oversight. That is what MPs do. CDF itself has a clear structure where there's no participation by the MP, by the constituency MP at all. It has the national board, which is just representation like all other boards. And we vet the chair here, just like we vet the chairs for all other boards and all other sagas in the national government. So that is still part of our job as legislation. It has a constituency committee, and we really don't take part in the constituency committee at all in structural way. We may try like anybody else to see who gets there, but it's still in the hands of the deputy county commissioner. People apply if they're going to be members of that committee. The deputy county commissioner actually chairs the meeting, and then the people are picked. The member of parliament has no role at all. Madam Speaker, when you go to the project management committee, the PMC, in fact, that may be the reason why CDF is, in particular, is very, very popular. Because once the money gets to the constituency, and the money coming to the constituency, it comes clearly what it is going to do, what vote is going to do. Earlier before that, of course, there is public participation where people decide what they really want to be done in their areas. And once that decision is made, the money that comes from the board comes directly for that. And when you go to the project management committee, the project management committee is actually purely the people, the constituents themselves. They are managing it, and this is one of the strengths of this fund. Madam Speaker, the truth is the MP has no role. In fact, if the deputy county commissioner, who is also part of this, if the manager, the chairman of the constituency committee of CDF and the fund manager decide that you won't even know what they are doing, what role as an MP would you have? None at all. And actually, the truth is, this fund can run without the member of parliament there. So in that context, I don't see the issue that people have with it. And if you look, people say, oh, some people have claimed this is just pocket money for the members of parliament. How does this money even get in your hands? Once the money is gone to the project management committee, before the payment is made, members of the committee, and if it is a school, for example, and the head of the school is a secretary or chair of that committee, they are actually signatory the MP is not a signatory anywhere at all. So I don't see why it is claimed that this is really money for the MPs. But why is it fund popular, Madam Speaker? One is access. There is no single fund that I've seen that actually the people have access to as much as a CDF. Madam Speaker, once there is a problem, maybe a school dormitory is banned or something, the members of the community will see the chair of the committee. They will sit. The MP has no role there at all. And once they sit and they decide, if you use the emergency component of this fund, the work will be done immediately. Which other fund I can ask, Madam Speaker, people will have direct access to like that? And when the work is going on, the people actually oversight the job. We know many people come to us, Mheshimiwa, this project, this work is going on, we don't like the way it is going on. And you just have to go, and that is part of oversight. You just go and see what is happening. That is oversight. So, Madam Speaker, we oversight other things. We have security. If a member of parliament actually meets with the sub-county security committee and needs to know what is happening, that is oversight. That is exactly how we relate with the NGCDF. If there is a program going on in education, even when exams are being done, members of parliament get involved on this. So, Madam Speaker, I do not see how this thing actually we can be accused, MPs can be accused of owning, using as they wish the NCDF money. If you look at the Senate oversight of the Senate Oversight Fund, I actually sympathize with the senators. They have a huge area, as well as the women represented. They have a huge area which they have to oversight. Now, you cannot come to this parliament as a woman representative or go to the Senate as a senator and start legislating, and you have no opportunity, no ability to go to the constituency and find out what exactly is happening. How will they work? So if we actually give, the senator and the woman representative have money, this is what they need. Because otherwise, it will just be a talk shop for them. They have to go and see what is happening. So with that, Madam Speaker, I think this fund and the other decentralized funds have actually been wrongly accused. MPs have been wrongly accused of misusing these funds. So, Madam Speaker, in my view, if the people have found that this is a fund that is useful to them, and the only argument I've had consistently is that it's unconstitutional. What do we make constitutions for? We make constitutions to guide our lives in a way that we find most useful and productive to us. Now, if we find a structure that is actually very efficient, even the overhead costs in CDF is actually the lowest. Why then can't we change the constitution so that we find something that works and that people that are popular with the people to be constitutional? So with that, Madam Speaker, I support this constitutional amendment.
Honorable Jane Kagiri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to support this amendment. Honorable Speaker, as I support this amendment, it takes me back to when I was a young girl. And Honorable Speaker, I was very excited and wanted to go to a boarding secondary school. Unfortunately, in Laikipia County, in those years, we did not have a girls' secondary school that was boarding. So my parents had to take me to another county to study for my secondary education. Years later, I kept wondering what had caused us not to have schools in our area. Honorable Speaker, if you look at a county like Laikipia, we had been neglected for very many years, and we are one of those counties that seek for equalization because of historical injustices. Honorable Speaker, years later, CDF was introduced. Today, I can call CDF the equalizer in this country, because based on the efforts of the members of parliament who have been elected in Laikipia, today we can pride ourselves for having boarding schools in our county, both for the boys and girls. Honorable Speaker, secondly, I would want to say many of our needy students have managed to get an education thanks to the bursaries given by our MPs in our counties and constituencies. Today, Honorable Speaker, I can still say Laikipia County is at 70% with semi-permanent structures in our schools. When we seek for more funding for CDF, I believe this is what is going to eliminate these semi-permanent structures in our schools, and it's also going to give an equal opportunity to students in Laikipia County to get an education just like students in other counties. Honorable Speaker, secondly, as I support this amendment, I would want to speak about the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, and I happen to be the chairperson of the 47 county MPs. Honorable Speaker, allow me to take this House through some statistics of last year. Last year, NGAF supported 50,000 students in this country through bursaries. 50,000 may look like a small number, but I would want us to picture 50,000 children getting an opportunity in this country. That is almost a whole constituency of people. Honorable Speaker, my question becomes, what if we had more funding to the National Government Affirmative Action Fund? I believe we'd be speaking of hundreds of thousands of students whom we have given an opportunity. In my own county of Laikipia last year, I managed to send 430 students for TVET training. And again, another 362 for catering classes. Today, I look back and think, these are students I have given a fishing line that rather than giving them a fish which they are going to keep coming back to. Honorable Speaker, these are opportunities that create empowerment for our people and give an opportunity to our young people. Honorable Speaker, speaking of last year again, we had around 3,000 groups supported through the National Government Affirmative Action Fund. Honorable Speaker, this may look again like a small number, but picture women, youth, persons with disability who have a source of income every day thanks to the funding that this National Government Affirmative Action Fund is giving them. Honorable Speaker, we are able to empower people with trolleys, we're able to empower them with shaving kits, we're able to empower people with tools of trade that can give them success in their businesses. Honorable Speaker, my final example would be last week when I was in Nanyuki. I managed to give my labor group that sits in Nanyuki town a concrete mixer. Honorable Speaker, my thought is that from that, these people will empower themselves, they will grow. In the future, they'll be the owners of buildings in that town. Honorable Speaker, I believe as women reps, we also want to ensure clean drinking water for our people. Unfortunately, again, our funding is too little to ensure that every school has a water tank, to ensure every administration institution has water tanks, so that when our people go to be served, they can be served with clean water and resources that will ensure they continue living in better conducive conditions. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, based on the Education Act, we are only allowed to issue sanitary towels to our students in basic education. But Honorable Speaker, you and I know the secondary students are the ones who are even more in need of sanitary towels. Again, our resources cannot cover all these students. That is the basic education as well as the secondary students. Again, Honorable Speaker, with an increased allocation for the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, we are going to be able to give more of our children sanitary towels and to ensure our girls remain in schools as they are supposed to remain in schools. Finally, Honorable Speaker, we are not just seeking for an increment. We are seeking for a consideration of a percentage of the national revenue. So as we progress on this amendment, we as the women representatives are seeking for 2.5% consideration of the national revenue as an allocation to NGAF, which is going to ensure that we support our women, our youth, and our persons with disability. Honorable Speaker, I support and I submit. Thank you.
Thank you. Member for Kitui Central, Dr. Makali Mulu.
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, I want to join my colleagues in supporting this constitutional amendment. But before I get to the details of the bill, let me appreciate the movers of the bill, Honorable Dr. Uchenda Moro and Honorable Chepkon. Honorable Speaker, I want just to provide some statements of fact so that those who are following us in terms of this debate know what we are discussing. Honorable Speaker, this bill, if you look at it,
proposes introduction of three funds. That is the National Constituency, National Government Constituency Fund, the Senate Fund, and the GAF. Honorable Speaker, in terms of sharing resources in this country, we have two levels of government. We have the national government and we have the county governments. And what determines how much money goes to each of the two levels, Honorable Speaker, is what we call the Division of Revenue Bill, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, in the Division of Revenue Bill, we only say how much goes to the national government and how much goes to the county governments. Now, after determining how much goes to the county government and how much goes to the national government, is when now we'll be introducing these funds. So those who are saying that this money, if not given to the NGCDF, the Senate Fund, and GAV, can find their way into the county governments, are cheating themselves. So the truth of the matter is, even if this money is not given to these three different funds, it will not go to the county governments. The only way it will be able to go to the county governments is through what we call conditional grants, meaning that the national government will have to pick part of their share and give to the counties in form of conditional grant. Otherwise, there will be no additional resources to the counties as a result of having these funds. The second point, Honorable Speaker, which is important, through these funds, we ensure that there is equity in the distribution of resources. What do I mean when I talk about equity? These are the only funds where we are sure that at the end of the day, each constituency, each county will get this money from the national resources without caring who they vote for. So it ensures equity, and equity is an issue we have all been fighting for, Honorable Speaker, when it comes to resource sharing in this country. So through these funds, we are saying we'll have a mechanism or a strategy to ensure that every part of this country will access resources, public resources. The other point which is critical, Honorable Speaker, is the issue of CDF being a development model, Honorable Speaker. The truth of the matter, Honorable Speaker, is that if we were to assess the models we are using to deliver development into to this country, from more parts of this country, CDF is the best model. And that has been proved beyond any reasonable doubt, Honorable Speaker. So the question I ask myself is, if you are genuine Kenyan, really, why would you not want Kenyans to benefit from this development model, which has been assessed to be the best? Best in terms of it has minimal recurrent expenditure, it has the highest development expenditure, and that means we are growing our economy. Honorable Speaker, the other point is this. If you look at the impact of this fund called NGCDF to Kenyans, Honorable Speaker, I want to tell you, in my constituency, I didn't mobilize anybody to go and say yes or no. But the numbers were overwhelming. People on their own choice decided to go out there and make sure that they say NGCDF must stay, because it has had the highest impact to our people in terms of educational, infrastructural development, in terms of bursaries to our students, and more so the needy students. And I want to specifically single out orphans in this country. Honorable Speaker, at the same time, this program called NGCDF has also assisted our security sector in providing the infrastructure for our security officers. So, if you look at the issue of highest impact in terms of positive impact to the Kenyans, this fund emerges as tops. And it's on the basis of that, Honorable Speaker, we are saying any right-thinking Kenyan should be able supporting enrichment of this fund in the Constitution, because it will help more people in the country and improve the lives of our people. The other point, Honorable Speaker, is the issue of public participation. The current act, the current NGCDF Act, Honorable Speaker, says every 2 years you conduct public participation so that you are able to identify which programs and projects should be funded to benefit our people. So, matters public participation is required in our Constitution, Honorable Speaker. I also adequately catered for in these funds, that our people are able to come up there and say this is what we want to do, and on the basis of that, you have targeted development meaning you are funding what the people are saying is their priority number one in whichever location they are in. And that is on that basis, Honorable Speaker, that I support these three funds. So, Honorable Speaker, without really belaboring the point, we are saying that I want to urge my colleagues to support this constitutional amendment, and we can only prove that we are in support of this by availing ourselves in the afternoon, so that the required 2/3, Honorable Speaker, we do not even achieve 2/3, we actually achieve 100% in support of these three funds. That will help this country and will be moving in the right direction. So colleagues who are out there and who are watching us or listening to us, make sure by 2:30 we are all full house so that we support these important three funds. And by that time, Honorable Speaker, then we'll be helping this country. With this many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support. Thank you so much.
Very well. Honorable members, I see there is a lot of interest. Though we have 10 minutes per member, if we can try and shorten it, more people will speak. We cannot do that by the standing orders. It has to be personal conviction to take short time. Member for Kitutu Masaba, Honorable Gisairo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Firstly, let me start by congratulating and thanking Honorable Tiende Amolo and Samuel Chepkonga for bringing this bill to this House. Honorable Speaker, the Constitution of 2010 had very good intentions on devolution. However, it didn't foresee a point where we are going to create 47 demigods. People who control funds, but funds that does not reflect in the lives of the people. Honorable Speaker, the 47 demigods know that they cannot be summoned by this House. But they know they can be summoned by a Senate which has little or no say on the direction of whatever they do. The senators are not even able to know what actual projects are taking place in their counties. To a point, members of parliament are called by the constituents to complain about dysfunctional services in the counties, matters that should be handled by the senators. It is in that spirit, Honorable Speaker, that we feel that the senators should get the Senate Oversight Fund. This will allow them to walk the streets of their counties, visit dispensaries and hospitals in their counties, visit primary schools with ECD classes to confirm whether those infrastructures are being done and done in the right way. As a House, we therefore have to support this provision to ensure that senators are well and properly resourced to oversight our 47 demigods. Honorable Speaker, resources will never be enough. We cannot reach everyone individually. And that is the spirit of having the National Government Affirmative Action Fund. To allow the women reps to identify and support vulnerable cases within our communities. The NGAF has done a commendable job. In my county, I've seen women groups, young people's groups being empowered to get their lives together. We've seen girls getting sanitary towels, things that we see that are basic, but millions and millions of our Kenyan youth cannot afford. Their parents are not able. NGAF should not only be entrenched here, but the amount should at least be doubled to enable the vulnerable in the community be taken care of in the right manner. Honorable Speaker, many members have said here that members of parliament are not party to NGCDF. Honorable Speaker, we are elected to perform three key roles: oversight, legislate, and represent. Honorable Speaker, we have a hand in the NGCDF by virtue of representation. The 350,000 people of Kitutu Masaba will not face the fund manager, all of them at once. And that's why they've elected me as their leader to listen to them and represent them in different forums. I therefore play my role to represent them. They have a vision, but they cannot present that vision, the 350,000 of them. You, therefore, as the member of parliament, you are the vision carrier for your people. We will therefore continue playing our role of representing our people to the board and to the CDFCs. Honorable Speaker, if there is a fund that is properly structured, I sit in the select committee of CDF. It is this fund. Money goes to the board. The board sends the money to the constituency CDFC's main account. From there, the money does not go to the contractor. It goes to the project management committee account, which has a representation of the local community where the project is going to be done. Those members of that community are the signatories. Honorable Speaker, this is the fund that touches the poor. It is the fund that speaks the language of the poor. Today, while we talk here, we are not talking as members of parliament. We are carrying the voices of the millions of the people we represent. Honorable Speaker, we will not allow that this country goes to a point where the member of parliament of Kitutu Masaba, who is elected on the opposition side, cannot be able to get classrooms for the children of Kitutu Masaba. We are not going to go back where we begged certain institutions for our people to get the very basic. Education is basic. Classrooms are basic. Bursaries are basic. We are not going to allow a point where we have to go back to nil, seeing loyalty for our people to get what is their right. NGCDF has brought equity to this country. NGCDF should fought for by all of us and by the people who are forever taking it to court, who only appear in the villages carrying bottled water once in a blue moon to attend a funeral and cannot even sleep in those villages. We are the ones who carry those children of the poor, children who do not have pampers. We are the ones who carry them, look them in the eye, and see the dream in their eye. For those who sit in Nairobi, sit in the courts, well-ventilated offices, do not tell us what the people go through. We are the ones who know what the people go through. We are the ones who know the dreams of the poor young child. It is our responsibility as a House, all members, to show up today. Because if you do not show, we'll put you in the bracket of the aloofness that is represented by the people active in courts. Honorable Speaker, I would like to end there and say that I support this bill because with this bill, our children have a future. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Agnes Pareyo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to the amendment, the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill. This amendment is going to help us or help the people we represent to make sure that they continue getting NGCDF. This is not money that is meant for the MP. This is money that has really made a difference in our constituencies. This money is seen like it is money that it is the MP that uses, but this is money that is run by a committee, a management committee with a fund manager, and they also use the public service officers, the public service officers and the community monitor and assure that this is money that is meant to them. When you look at our phones, we receive messages from students who are unable to sit for their exams because they know that this money is there and it is meant for them, and that money can support them in their education. So for me, I support the amendment of the bill, and I also want to say that this is money that is supposed and has really made a difference in our communities. This is money. If it were not for this money, most of my schools in my constituency would now have been closed for lack of toilets. This is money that the community and the constituency know that this is money that we can get, and this is money that we can reach. So for now, we must stand up, all of us in this house, to make sure that this amendment, we have really gotten a quorum so that to make sure that this money remains with the people and this money remains at the constituency. For the National Affirmative Fund, I also support these women. I pity with them because the area they serve is a very huge area. It is the whole county. And when I see them, giving water tanks, giving out the tents to the women, and they are always there for the bursaries, and the money they get is too little, and they still make sure that this money is felt in their county, in their, please protect me, don't confuse me. And so I support, and I also want to say that this money is not enough for them. This money should be added to the women so that they can manage this money, and this is money that women in our constituencies, in our counties are really feeling. The NGCDF money, affirmative action money, is money for the people. It's not meant for the MP. So I support the amendment bill and say that we should come out in large numbers with the members of parliament to make sure that we get the quorum to pass this bill. Thank you, and I support.
Very well. Member for Kandui, Honorable Makali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to also